The numbers vary depending on what people say, but it's looking at anywhere from 84 trillion to 129 trillion have been named to actually move to the next generations. There's been a lot of talk of millennials, but to your point, actually Gen X and Gen Z have been talked about a lot more more recently as well. And what people have really forgotten is actually the first transfer is going to go from the husbands to the wives within there. And so we talk a lot about those millennials, but the wives are actually getting the money already. And so this is something that's already occurring. And so you look at $30 trillion by 2030 should have transferred to women.
Oh, wow. Which is really where Ellevest comes in. Your CEO is Sally Krawcheck.
Yep.
And this is all about sort of helping investing in wealth management company that's built by women and for women. How does this differ from another wealth manager, for example?
Yeah, I worked at a traditional wealth manager, one of the biggest wealth manager for a long time. And people often ask us this, and number one, just the numbers of financial advisors. I think what people also forget in this great wealth transfer is that over 50% of advisors are over the age of 55. There's going to be an enormous transfer of advisors as well. We're starting to see it. A lot of people coming to us and saying, my advisor retired.
Right.
What do I do? And so, and you sit in a lot of rooms, and 70% of advisors a lot of time are over the age of 70 and not below the age of 30. So what's going to happen within here? And so at Ellevest, 83% of our team is women overall. All of our advisors are women. It's very rare within here. And so just that we are her within there, and so that we hear her. And so when women are going through divorce, widowhood, inheritance, all these things that are occurring, that our team actually reflects that has been an enormous way for us to actually gather clients within here. And then the other thing that we really see is these women, this next generation, has been looking for more impact, ESG investing, impact, whatever we want to call it. We can throw a lot of labels at this. But how do we actually align their values to their money?
So on the first point there, where do you get these young women to be advisors? Where do you get them? Because I know even the traditional investment banks have a hard time.
Yeah, no, it's not easy.
We just went. We just went to an event in Nashville.
Yeah.
And we're just,
It's not easy. I'll tell you that. I spent a lot of time looking at a lot of resumes of people who apply and such. It's not all young women.
Okay.
I have some advisors. I have one of the top advisors on my team, a woman in her mid-50s. She was a large advisor at Wells Fargo for a long time. She went through something that was really soul-searching for her. She had breast cancer. And it made her really realize she needed to do something more meaningful in her life. And so finding advisors like that where, she was making a ton of money. She was good. She had a huge book of business. She didn't need to leave Wells Fargo. These advisors, they don't need to make that transition. But she decided she needed to do something more meaningful. And that a lot of advisors I find that are in their mid-30s and trying to figure out, how do I make something for myself? And really those advisors who may be at that point where they're going to have children. They're thinking about what their career is going to look like at these big banks, at these large broker dealers, and they start to reflect and say, I'd rather be somewhere like Ellevest. And so we've recruited a lot from these large broker dealers.
Well, I was going to say, what is your recruitment process like? Like, how easy is it to pitch? Like, what's the track record?
It's pretty good. We get a lot of applications. I always joke to people. People be like, did you see my friend's application? Because I do get the emails. I don't read everyone's application every single day. We get a lot of them.
That's so great.
It's wonderful. And a lot
So what do you look for then?
It really varies within here. So I always tell people I need a couple of different things. And actually my biggest problem of hiring advisors, especially from the big broker dealers, and I worked at JP Morgan where they tell you what to say every day. You're very trained. And is really finding people who can have that ability to think for themselves and to learn and to realize that our business 6 months ago was different than it is 6 months from now, and it will be different 12 months from now. And so how are you actually building with us within there? And then really thinking about that person who is passionate to our mission. I can feel from an advisor if they're just trying to come work for Sally Krawcheck or if they really want to do what we want to do. And it is always amazing. Like I work with Sally very closely. I forget that she's Sally. And people, they want to meet her. They want to go through it. They want to do that. And so we do get a good amount of that within the process.
Of stargazing.
People, oh, wow, Sally. And so you have to work through the people who are going to be able to sit in a room, hold their own, and show that they actually care about the Ellevest mission and that they're going to be able to relate to women.
What's a typical Ellevest client look like?
So
and what do they need?
We have clients, Ellevest overall, we have clients from 0 to tens of millions within there. I run our wealth management business, and so that has kind of two parts within it. We have a mass affluent business and a traditional, like ultra high net worth business. Our average client sits between 2 and 10 million of investable assets. We do have family offices who come in, and we do a lot of more private investing within there. And so they're typically people who need a financial plan, need that guidance, need some decision making in order to think about, what does retirement look like? And I would tell you, none of our clients, I have one client where retirement means golf every day. Most of them, it means I want to leave my huge Mag 7 job and go do something different. I need to do something meaningful. I want to start a business, whatever that means. And us helping guide them through that. And then we invest across all asset classes. So we do stocks, bonds, and alternative investing. And that's where we've gathered a lot of clients, actually, is the differentiated alternative investing that we really do, which is not the big guys. It's not the names that we all know. It's not the places that all the large broker dealers put on their platform. These are like bespoke managers that could be 50 to a couple hundred million in AUM managers, and people really leave some of these big broker dealers to have some of these very opportunistic ideas.
So interesting. Really cool. The women who come to you, are they also tend to be married, or is it more just like you really focus on the women's side?
Great question. People ask me this all the time.
Asking for a friend.
Yes. 40% of our clients are actually men in wealth management, because sometimes women marry men. It happens. And so most of them are married, actually. And what you find is a lot of times the woman has to have some authority over the money. And so she made it. She inherited it. She's the one who controls it in some way, and she comes, and we have clients who maybe for a little while they manage their money separately, and then a year later he comes
like,
over
actually,
and he's like, comes across the corner, comes in that Zoom meeting, and it's like, what
Actually,
about me?
Me?
Yeah.
Hi.